What's up? I found this kind of cool cave over by the lake where I live by. So I decided that I was going to make a few videos in here because I thought it'd be a good idea. So cave's not very big. There's the lake. It's just kind of like a small inlet in the rocks. Started a small fire. Um, so today I'm going to be reading you guys some of the poetry that I've written. Some of it's some of my earlier stuff. And then I have some newer stuff. I'll make a part 2 video for that. So I hope you enjoy. My first poem is My Last Midnight Ride. Demons of the highway, prowlers of the night, they stand by and watch, fueling their victim's fright. They make the drivers wonder, when is their next blunder? For when one appears, their prey becomes white. A prey becomes the predator. Its horns are like that of a matador. Every aching mile, I search for that which is vile, the creature which so much blood is shed for. I see its red eyes at a distance. I scream for a person's assistance. This demon possesses no soul. In the end its destruction is full, for my brakes failed to create any resistance. The last thing I hear is the sound of yelling. The last thing I feel is my head swelling. I see heaven's bells, they are tolling. The film of my life begins rolling. Earth is no longer my dwelling. So watch for the timid creatures that stay out of sight, for when the sun passes they become killers at night. I hear the ringing of the telephone, a man on the end with a somber tone. His voice, it fills me with fright. It is still the dead of night. Over the sounds I hear a moan. The man said there had been a crash that night. My little boy couldn't live to fight. I struggled to hold back the tears, remembering the good times throughout the years. I drove my car to the crash site. I see the carcass lying on the ground. My boy no longer makes a sound. I say, God, what have you done to take my only son, now a cold and formless mound? We become gods in our own sight. This thought was ruined that cold November night. Now the deer that he did meet could boast of all my soul's defeat. Never again will he see the sun's light. I die myself every day when I see where the body lay. I see a boy once full of life, cold and dead with my own strife. So that was a car that I wrote. I had a close encounter, almost hitting a deer while driving about 60 on a highway, and so that kind of freaked me out a little bit. And I wrote about that, and kind of took the story and exaggerated a little bit. So there's the fire now. It's going a bit better. I have two more poems that I'll read to you. This one is The Act. I wrote this about I grew up in a Christian home, and I wrote it about how Christians often don't represent what their faith actually means. Act, act, it is all an act, forcefully locked in an unholy pact. Forced to believe past the age of reason, it is the same with each passing season. The man that we praise healed a mute, but now you pass by the poor in an overpriced suit, not heeding the passage which says not to worry. Those needing our help are lost in the hurry. The mortgage, the kids, and the cars, creating more worries by visiting bars, searching for things about which to complain while those around suffer real pain, focusing more on sexuality than death and futile fatality. The decline of this great religion was not caused by them but by our decision to diminish those who would mock it, and putting them second to our own pocket. Our rabbi taught us to privately pray, but now hypocrites flock to the mic every day. Those at the top do the casting while making arguments that are anything but lasting. Science and us should be in agreement. Why do we use theological cement? You don't have to always be right to go up above. Just bring up those around and show them his love. So that's a poem I wrote when I was kind of struggling with the idea of Christianity and why those around me weren't following kind of its precepts, and I didn't see the love of Christ through what they were doing. This next poem is about school. I wrote a couple about school. I think there'll be a couple in the next video, but it's titled The Evergreen Tree. I see all the plants and the young evergreen trees trapped underneath the post-autumn freeze. I remember once long ago when I too was trapped under the snow. I also remember the warm summer days when I also remember the warm summer days when the rain fell like the gentle sun's rays. But now, like a flood, the snow and the hail sail down in unending torrents. This warrants the wails and the woes. I heard the flesh of the plants loudly tearing, and though still alive, the evergreen not well faring. I came back from this place, not forgetting the scene, and thought of the peculiar situation of the American teen, where knowledge comes down in destructive torrents and no longer warrants the freedom of learning for which we are yearning. Do not follow the path that has been chosen, for if you do, you may become frozen. Sometimes I go back to the evergreen tree and think of the command it has given to me to live and to love and to always be free. So there, I kind of compare the teens of today to evergreen trees and how they should keep on going, even though sometimes it doesn't seem like it's worth it. Sometimes it can be kind of hard, kind of depressing. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel, at least in most situations. Life, at least in America, is a lot of what you make out of it. There's a lot of opportunity. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please watch part 2, which will be coming up soon.